Connecting Cultures follows the life of foreigners in our country. Our program is true stories told by representatives of many nations living and developing in Kazakhstan, and for whom our country has become home.
Today in program, Mathijs Olij, a coffee expert and master at preparation thereof, native of the Netherlands, who one day took a decision to familiarize Kazakhstan with the coffee culture.
Entrepreneurship in Kazakhstan has always had great state support. The hero of our program left the corporate world and his native Holland to build his business and family here in Kazakhstan. Please welcome the descendant of Dutch coffee planters, a professional barista, and the owner of a cozy coffee shop in the heart of Almaty, Mathijs Olij.
Amsterdam is one of the oldest European capitals, the cultural and financial pearl of the Netherlands, and is the hometown of our hero. Just like Kazakhstan, Holland is a place of concentration of different cultures. It is believed that representatives of 177 nationalities live here. However, despite his urban background, Mathijs spent most of his childhood in the Dutch Provence, among greenwoods, along with his brother and sister.
Mathijs, thank you so much for being with us today. And the first question will be about your childhood. And what is the happiest moment from your childhood that you can remember?
I think my whole childhood was is kind of a blessing. It gave me a very good peace inside of me to do the thing that I do today. The trust and the values. My father is Dutch. My mother's half Indonesian. We have a big family. The Indonesian part is huge, and the Dutch part is a bit smaller. I think our main tradition is food. We love cooking, all of us. With Christmas, we come together, and with New Year's, we come together, and then we make as nice as food as possible, with all nice ingredients from all different parts of the world. So that's the thing that brings us together, the love for food, not in quantity, but in quality.
I know that your ancestors were involved in the coffee business. Did it influence you?
My grandfather had a coffee farm in Sumatra, in Indonesia, and it was the early 20s. And the family of my grandma used to work on the plantation. And so they got to know each other, and they got kids. The war broke out. They went to camps, both, unfortunately, but they came all alive out of the camps, and then they moved immediately to Holland. And yeah, now I'm a product of that. And so there are two things that I got from them. Is first of all the love for coffee, yes, and the second, the adventurous part. Kazakhstan brought me in the early years, 98, definitely was a really nice adventure. And now still, I feel that adventurous part of starting something beautiful here.
To Kazakhstan, Mathijs first came with his father, a young man just graduated from the university with a degree in automotive industry. The only knowledge about our country was from the board game he used to play, where the huge territory of the Kazakh SSR clearly stood out on the map. Here, with his father's partners, he worked for a year, then returned home and afterwards spent 10 years working in Europe in a wide range of areas, from business to information technology.
Always during that time, I felt the attraction for coffee, and I wanted to do something within the coffee industry. So eventually, I thought, you know, I have to follow my dreams. And so that's why I decided to go into the coffee industry, and I decided to do that in Kazakhstan.
Mathijs is a very entertaining person. I mean, at first I like always to come on the weekends, because definitely on Saturday and Sunday he is here himself, as today. He's serving the people, and he's a good barista, so he does a good coffee, and then he has always time for a small chat. He opened up this place in Almaty, and I do like his coffee and his cakes. It's also very vkusno, delicious. His cappuccino is the best one.
Mathijs, we're sitting here at your wonderful coffee establishment in Almaty, and I would like to ask you, when was the first time when you arrived to Kazakhstan, and what was your first impression?
It was in 1998, in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. The flights came from Amsterdam, and I arrived here totally in the dark. And yeah, that was the first time I came here to Kazakhstan. And then when the daylight came, I got to know this beautiful country. I didn't know Russian, I didn't speak Russian. So everything is different. But I was 21 and you're looking for adventure. And so you have it, so what more can you wish for?
However, the adventure for the young Mathijs Olij turned into a lifelong affection. His beloved girl was waiting for him in Kazakhstan.
Of course, I miss my girlfriend, my current wife. And we had a lot of phone calls going one way to another way until the point that my parents got really angry because the phone bills became so high. I invited her to come to Holland. Every year I came here in Kazakhstan afterwards until 2010.
So when did you finally decide to settle down here?
2009, of course, it's not my sole decision. Together we decided. I always was a bit of an entrepreneur, that I wanted to establish something. And when you do that in Europe, it's much more difficult. In some sense, it's more difficult. Some sense, it's more easy than here. But I worked in many industries, and at that time the company where I was working for went bankrupt. And these years I always wanted to return. I was missed. I felt still the adventure in my heart. Let's put it this way. And she was also getting pregnant of our daughter. And so I thought, you know, if we want to go, we have to go now. So we packed our things. I ordered a container of stuff, and then I sent it to Kazakhstan, and I moved down here, or together we moved down here.
And when the idea of opening this coffee establishment came to you?
From those many years I came to Kazakhstan, I noticed that the coffee industry is very, let's say, a very low level, because it was a quite new thing. Yeah? And so I thought, you know, if you want to start a culture, you have to start with the education and professional education. I started to develop the Barista Academy, and that was in 2011 I started already. And actually it was also part of a request of my friend. She had a restaurant here, and she asked me to train her staff. I said, yeah. Since then I'm training people, training young entrepreneurs, older entrepreneurs from different backgrounds. So youngsters who just have like $4,000 got from their parents to start their own venture, till people who just wanted to have the training for their personal enjoyment, people who are traveling through and always wanted to know more about coffee. Many people. I mean, from the age of 12 till 75 I trained. And then people started to ask after the education, when can we come and drink coffee? But I didn't have a place. I just had a coffee machine and the equipment that I needed, the educational process, but not a place to gather and to come. And actually, they all came to my office. Then I decided to start my own establishment, and it took me about 8-9 months of pre-work. And I started to build this own shop, design and everything, and the logo, the philosophy behind it. And then, in 1.5 years ago, we opened officially our doors here at Joly.
When we opened up, I personally had difficulties. It's a language barrier with clients. How to ask, how to answer. But then, slowly, as business started to develop, with the help of Mathijs, I felt more and more confident, day by day. During these 2 years, I have grown enough. I met Mathijs at the barista courses. It was unforgettable. I remember like it was just yesterday. That day, I tried my first espresso. I like to work with Mathijs. We are like family, a coffee family. Our atmosphere dips a bit into another culture and different languages. Here you can hear German speech, English speech, Russian and Kazakh. I really like this moment at this coffee shop, that you just can come and relax. It reminds me of Kazakh families where there is always a holiday. This Kazakh hospitality, definitely we have it here.
My success should be in the cup. I'm always trying to find how to make it better in terms of presentation, in terms of experience, in terms of taste. And that's an ongoing process that will never end. And probably I will be 90 or 100 and then I will die and I still didn't achieve my personal top.
And now we go to the Holy of Holies, the laboratory where the magic of coffee is created. Here Mathijs Olij himself roasts coffee beans, prepares grinding, conducts training on his Italian beauty, Faema of 1969. In this workshop you can find a wide variety of coffee makers, from the classical Turks to the siphon, which is so loved in Japan.
And when did you learn the art of making a great coffee?
The start of my vibe of coffee was actually based on a bit of a frustration that I couldn't create a nice Italian espresso in Holland when I was living in Amsterdam. So my path to recreating the same espresso helped me a lot to establish what I have today. Of course, in between I still had professional education on coffee. I studied in Portland, in the US, about coffee a lot.
I know that you have a little production facility over here where you produce the cookies and different desserts. But what is your favorite local dish?
My favorite local dish? Yeah, I would say plov. Plov is, I mean, I love rice. I'm also part Indonesian, and Indonesian people, they love rice, and me too. I can eat rice 24/7 as a base, so yeah, I love definitely plov, and I also make plov myself, so I love the process already of doing it. If you have a real fire, and you put the kazan, and you put the oil, and you make it hot, then you put the onion inside, and then you take the burnt onion out, and then you start the whole rest of the process. Just the smell and the process is something I love, yes.
Could a 12-year-old boy growing in the shady green of the Dutch fields imagine that his love for rice and coffee, adventures and family would lead him to the land of the great steppe in many years?
Mathijs, we have already talked about lots of different interesting things, but right now I guess the viewers of our program really want to know about your plans for the future. Can you please share with us?
I love what I do now. I'm not looking too far away, but it would be great to have a bit more academies around Kazakhstan. And this would give me the opportunity to train more people and bring the culture to also other districts of Kazakhstan and develop the coffee industry further.
And what are the 5 things that you like about Almaty most?
I like the city, the way the city is built. It's very green. I like this rechkas within the city. It's lovely. I love the Zilona Bazaar. The beautiful thing is from Almaty is you can walk around the center of the city, and it's the feeling everywhere is good for me. I feel at home. Just throw away your concerns and just buy a ticket and go. I did it in '98, so why can't you do it now?
Since ancient times, the Kazakhstan has been a heaven for travelers. The guest who knocked on the house had the warmest welcome. A place was offered near the hearth, and the best meals were served. The generosity and hospitality of the Kazakh land are alive to these days. In Kazakhstan, anyone could find his place, build a family and fulfill his dreams, just like Mathijs Olij did.